Do you buy these efforts, buying back the stock, all these things? This is what investors wanted to hear.
Yes,
obviously.
It's what they wanted to hear. I mean, when you're trading at this multiple of earnings, then anything you do that's giant buyback is really accretive. However, that's a capital allocation decision. And so capital isn't free, and you have to decide. It's sort of the other part I thought was interesting beside this, which is the buyback is very interesting. The dividend is really not such a huge deal, is sort of they've gone through this big labor thing, right? And it was a really aggressive, it was fraught. And then to come out and say, we've cut, it's not that big of a deal. It's $1.1 billion, and we're going to make it up in cost cuts. And that was sort of surprising to me, just as a matter of optics.
Right. And to say it adds to the average cost of the vehicle $500.
Right.
Less than 2% of the average cost of the vehicle to the buyer. Like, this whole thing was no big deal.
Right. That I found sort of interesting. So Mary Barra, I think, with the cruise issues, feeling under the gun, I just happened to see she joined GM on January 14th of 2015, I believe, or 15th on the 14th. All right, that might be it. So she's coming up on the 10-year anniversary. It's been a rough 10 years, not just for Mary Barra, but for Ford as well. And returns haven't been great. This clearly would juice the stock. I thought there was a little bit of sort of some funny little math in there, but the point being that they're saying, the business is good, our earnings are great, we've got a lot of cash flow, we've got a lot of, it's very, very accretive to buy stock back. I get it.
So to Karen's point, isn't the buyback what the UAW was totally against? Isn't that what people always have a problem with? That's corporate America. That's financial engineering. So when you have that, and then how much have they lost on EVs? How many billions per year? And now they're doing a buyback. And now they're going to reward shareholders where the average worker is disadvantaged. So I think it's a terrible setup framing for the company. And look at the year-to-date performance. Down 5%. Ford, down 8%. Tesla, the gorilla in the room, up a 100% year-to-date. Tesla's still the only company that could make EVs efficiently and make money at it.
Still, is there a little bit of a turnaround aspect to the GM story at this point, Tim? I mean, what do you think? Mary Barra is addressing exactly what investors are concerned about. We're going to cut costs. We're going to pull back on Cruise, which has already lost $2 billion in the first 9 months of this year. We're really going to look hard at how we are spending money.
I think it sends a great message. I love the message. And, this may not be great optics. They got a union deal done. Everybody signed off. It was going to be contentious. Everybody fought their corner. Investors love this. Investors love the clarity. Investors love a bid under the stock. 17% of the free float taken off the market. GM, which is more profitable than Ford, they have the ability to buy back shares. The stock does need a catalyst. And it's not the reason necessarily a company should be doing this. They do it because they can and because they actually think this is the best allocation of capital. We all know that they have to spend on EVs, but the message to me is that their core business, first of all, is a lot more profitable than the street gives it credit for. Adam Jonas at Morgan Stanley, who we have a ton of respect for here, pointed out, what's different about this? Well, what's different to me is that it's almost that you can look at it from the other side. Now we actually at least understand that this is a company that we knew was 4.5 times trailing. In other words, absurdly cheap, and actually had intrinsic value in the underlying shares to buy back. So I just think it reminds people that this company has been run differently. It's been run better than Ford. It has a lot to do in EV land. Everybody knows that. By the way, margins at Tesla are getting razor thin. We're going to hear about a truck that's not profitable at Tesla. It was a great day for GM. It was a great day to I think, remind people that this company has been generating free cash flow for the last 3 years, and the market hasn't paid attention.
Is it enough, though, Guy, to convince you that this is, a longer-term play?
I think it's great for the stock. I'm not sure it does anything for the problems that GM has faced for the last decade or so. And, we're all sort of saying the same things. I will say this, and I sort of agree with Steve on this one. I think it's a giant slap in the face to the UAW. You basically negotiate hard on both sides. Negotiations over. And, oh, by the way, here's $10 billion to buy back our stock. I mean, I wouldn't feel particularly good about that, but clearly shareholders do. I guess, though, if you look at the stock, and we are, it gets us back to where we were basically a month or so ago. So look, I think there's a floor in for the stock now in terms of this recent low. This clearly helps. Big volume day, but I don't think it fixes the woes of the company. It might fix the woes of the stock.